Hello, lovely people of the world. Thank you for clicking on this video. Please consider subscribing and sharing this video. Also, like this video and leave a comment down below. If there is anything that you don't understand, you can ask questions down there so that we can all learn together. Well, this is the Cape Coast Castle, located in the central region of Ghana. On this day, we went for a visit to learn about the history of the castle. The Cape Coast Castle is one of about 40 slave castles or large commercial forts built on the Gold Coast of West Africa, now called Ghana, by European traders. It was originally a Portuguese trading post established in 1555, which they named Cabo Corso. However, in 1653, the Swedish Africa Company constructed a timber fort there. It originally was a center for the trade in timber and gold. It was later used in the transatlantic slave trade. Other Ghanaian slave castles, including Elmina Castle and Fort Christianborg, they were all used to hold enslaved Africans before they were loaded onto ships and then sold in the Americas, especially the Caribbeans. The Gate of No Return was the last stop before crossing the Atlantic Ocean. Cape Coast Castle, along with other forts and castles in Ghana, are included on the UNESCO World Heritage List because of their testimony to the Atlantic gold and slave trade. It was later rebuilt by the British in the 18th century. So let's go into this video and then learn more about the castle, the slave trade, and everything that surrounds it. The tour guide was very good, explaining everything that occurred in the transatlantic slave trade concerning this castle we have here. Yeah, it's located in the central region of Ghana, and yeah, it has a very nice history to it, and I'd like us all to stay and then learn. It's a bit longer video, so I had to do it in two parts. This is the part 1 of 2, which I will later upload within a week. So thank you very much for clicking on this video again. Please consider subscribing and then sharing this video. Also like this video and then comment so that we can all learn together. Stay safe. Let's go into the video and learn something about right. Good afternoon.
Yep.
I warmly welcome you to the historic Cape Coast Castle. My name is Kwesi Obeng. You can simply call me Kwesi because I was born on Sunday, and I'll be with you for the next 45 minutes, 1 hour as your side guide. You are free to ask questions and take some pictures around. Before we start walking, I will give you a brief history
built about 64 forts and castles in West Africa. Out of that, about 40 were built in Gold Coast, now Ghana, all because of our gold. But some of the forts in Ghana are no more. Now have about 19 forts, 3 castles existing. First castle built in Ghana is the one in El Mena, St. George's Castle, built by the Portuguese in the year 1482, being the oldest, the largest, the biggest castle in the Congo. Oldest European structure in the entire West Africa. El Mena Castle is about 540 years old. Second castle is Nakra, Christian Osu, built by the Danes, Denmark, around 1662. This is the youngest, the third, the last castle, Wooorrkkss Castle, built by the British. This English castle started building the castle around 1664, about 358 years old. Very old, but the structure is still strong. Surprisingly, the original structure by the British has no cement, no annual rods. They used bent bricks imported, lime powder from oyster shells with oil and sand as binding material, stones, pitch pine timber, with cheap African labor, if not free. They built the castle, meaning they used Africans to construct. That should inform us that Africans contributed building their own dungeons. Transatlantic slave trade. The Europeans came to West Africa here with the initial reasons thought to search for minerals like gold, spread Christianity, search for an alternative route to India, to circumvent the Arabs who came to Africa first. The Arabs mainly settled at the northern part of Africa. They were there fast spreading Islam, taking minerals as well as slaves, very sadism, sold them in their markets in what they called trans-Saharan slave trade. The Europeans wanted to break the monopoly the Arabs were enjoying by finding the source of these minerals themselves. Started to explore. Led by the Portuguese, they started from Ceuta. Ceuta is around Morocco, Senegambia. 1471, they got to our coast here. Their first point of contact here was a village called Anumonsa. You know Anumonsa? You know them. They had a lot of gold from the area, so the Portuguese named the area El Mina, which means the mine, now corrupted El Mena. You know El Mena. So 1482, they started building the castle. Same Portuguese got to the Americas, but they will tell you they stopped the Americas. 1492. When they got there, they saw fertile land, good for agriculture, started growing plantations, large-scale farms. Labor became a problem because they were using the natives of America. They named them the Red Indians, but they were not that effective. They were not that strong. They were dying of tropical diseases. As they were here before they got there, they knew the potentials in Africa. Very strong, able to withstand tropical diseases, very effective when it comes to agriculture. So they said, no, Africans we know could work better than those we educate. A Catholic bishop by name Bartholomew the Las Casas petitioned the Spanish crown to allow importation of Africans directly from here to the New World. His petition was granted, and around 1518, transatlantic slave trade officially started. The Europeans started getting captives by raiding and kidnapping. Raiding, they could set a village on fire, and as the people ran in skelter for their lives, they kidnapped or they raided for the young ones. You could be working on your farm with your children or even your husband. You look back and he's taken away. Sometimes they deceive some of them. Let's go to our home countries. We will give you better lives. They ended up working for them. Let's go inside our ships and have fun. The locals understood free-mindedly. Africans are very hospitable, especially Ghanaians. Packed their drums, went to them. Under disguise of enjoyment, they gave them a lot of alcoholic beverages. Chained, shackled them. The time they realized that they were on the high seas. There were some instances where some African chiefs, traditional rulers, prominent personalities brought some people and sold. But they were not selling their brothers and sisters, as some people sometimes want us to believe. Most of the people they brought were rather some of their prisoners of war people who were captured during warfares. You may know that there was nothing like Ghana, no Togo, no Burkina Faso. Africa was one big continent. Demarcation of Africa took place around 1884, when all the European countries then, with the exception of Switzerland, met to the United States of America in Germany in what they called the Berlin Conference, and demarcated, shared the continent of Africa to themselves. Sadly, Africans themselves were not part of the Berlin Conference. And we as Africans are still holding on to these boundary things in the Africa was made of states, tribes, kingdoms, ethnic groups, clans. All these groups wanted to expand, fighting among themselves. For instance, I'll be fighting his clan over a parcel of land. If I defeat him, instead of killing him and his people, I would rather imprison them, set some arms for gangan powder, take over the land and all the natural resources that come with it. Next time I use these ammunition to fight my next opponent. The one thing that normally misses in the history is that most of these chiefs who sold some of their prisoners of war didn't know the kind of treatment they were going to go through, because they were not bringing their prisoners of war directly to the castles and fought. See, Yajisi, a Ghanaian-based US of A, wrote a book. The title of the book is Homegoing. Homegoing. Homegoing talks about two sisters. One lived in this castle as a mistress for one of the British officers. One lived in this castle as a slave. The one who lived in here as a mistress indicated that she was here for a couple of weeks and didn't know they were keeping people in the dungeons. So if someone who lived in here didn't know they were keeping people in the dungeons, how would you expect a chief in Tamale, Salada, to know the kind of treatment the people he said were going to go through? Wherever they got these people, the victims, they worked in chains and shackles. Imagine walking from Kumasi to Cape Coast, about 200 kilometers. Tamale is over 400. Relatively, Kumasi Tamale is not far, because others came from present-day Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, and others. Those who survived these long journeys. In this castle, when they arrived, they took them upstairs into a hall called Palava Hall. That was the slave market. There were European doctors, nurses in there to examine the captives from head to toe to determine their strength. After, they were exchanged for gunpowder, mirror, tobacco, textiles, rum, brasswares, sugar, caps, according to their strength. And in Africans were reduced low to the level of commodity, like mirror, like tobacco. After the auction, they brought them down here, bent marks on them for easy identification before they were pushed into the dungeons. They stayed in the dungeons for 3 days to about 3 months, waiting for the ships to come carry them away. When the ships came, they were loaded, sent them to North America, South America, the Caribbean, like Brazil. I'm mentioning Brazil first because Brazil received the highest number. About 46% went to Brazil. That is why today, in the whole world, Brazil is the second country after Nigeria with the highest number of black population. There are about 100 million blacks in Brazil. Ghana is just around 30.8 million. So though we're in Africa, but when it comes to black population, they are nowhere close to Brazil, which is far outside Africa. Most of them are there because of this evil trade. So to Brazil, we know under US of A, Suriname, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Antigua, Jamaica, Haiti, St. Vincent, and others to work on sugarcane, tobacco, cotton, coffee plantations. Some were domestic settlers. Few were sent to some of the European countries like Britain, mainly to do construction. The male dungeon is right here. Female dungeons are down close to the Gulf Maritime. But see, on top of the male dungeon, the room up with the roof is showing. 3 windows facing the side, 3 facing the side. What's the church? Can you imagine? Church above the slave.
Can you mention the name of the church? What
Society for the propagation of the gospel.
Society
For the propagation of the gospel. SPG Church, First Church of England. Church of England is now Anglican. Anglican churches are all over Ghana. So Monday due to Saturday, the British bought captives, held them in dungeons. Sundays, they had church services above them. That is why in Ghana, some people commonly say the ship that brought Bible took slaves away. First president of Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta, once said, when the missionaries arrived, Africans had lamb, they had Bible. They taught us how to pray with our eyes closed. When we open our eyes, they had lamb. he had the Bible. Any question? We are standing on graves. Dead bodies were buried. Yes, dead bodies were buried all over. The courtyard was excavated. When the excavation was done, only 4 graves had marks. One black grave can get closer. And we put it closer. The man buried here, Philip Paku. Philip Paku, PK. Philip Paku, a native of this town. The father of Philip was one of those Africans who had been buying and selling of African slave merchants. Did that, the son Philip was awarded scholarship by the church to study in Britain. He attended Oxford University, ordained, became first black person to be ordained a priest of the Anglican Church. Came back, worked with them for 15 years as a teacher and a reverend minister in the church and the school. He died 17th October 1816. He was 75 years old. Slave trade was officially abolished in this castle 1833. Meaning this man came or even died before slave trade was abolished. So he was preaching the gospel upstairs while his fellow Africans were dying in the dungeons. Do you have questions here? Killing an African slave. First one there for a soldier. One of the British army officers with very ironic name, C.B. Whitehead. C.B. Whitehead, a lawyer by profession who joined the military. Died in the castle, July 1812. He was 38 years old. Letitia Elizabeth London, the name alone should tell where she came from. George McLean. She was the wife of George. She came here to pay him a visit. She died only 2 months after her arrival. Rumors, gossips had it that malaria parasite killed her. Others have said when she came, the husband George was having an extramarital affair with an African mistress called Ellen Bannerman from Accra. When Letitia heard that, she poisoned herself. Others have said the Osu woman posed her servants, came to the castle. In a way of serving Letitia, she poisoned her. So today, we don't know how to look at Letitia, whether it was parasite, homicide, or suicide. She died in 1838. She was only 36. George came here around 1830 as administrator. But you know, McLean is popular in our colonial history because he designed a bond known in Ghana as the Bond of 1844. It's a bond which paved way for the establishment of British colony in Gold Coast for 100 years. He was the architect. Then Governor Commander Hale, with 8 Ghanaian chiefs, signed the bond on 6th March 1844. Gold Coast, now Ghana, became a colony to the British. So see, the British were our slave masters, became our colonial masters. Ghana is still a member of the British Commonwealth. Confirmed malaria parasite killed George McLean. 1847, he was 46. So see, the black man was 75 years old. The Europeans, 38, 36, 46. Malaria. Any question about malaria? Reservoir, water reservoir. And after the reservoir, we shall see the male dungeon. Children, be careful. They were harvesting rainwater from the roofs of the castle. They reserved the rainwater here. The captives were those who were depending on the rainwater, drinking, cooking for them. The British dug wells, water from underground. So they were depending on those wells with rainwater about 1850. They were depending on those wells, rainwater here for the captives. We still fill them with pipe-borne water. This alone can put about 3,000 gallons of water. We just turn the taps, then we fill them. Male slave.
Slowly, don't do what I'm doing because it's my place. I can run without.
What is that?